the quaint city of Escondido, California, known for its sunny skies and friendly faces. But beneath the surface, a darkness lurked. Whispers started circulating. People were going missing, vanishing into thin air, leaving behind bewildered families and a community on edge. At first, the disappearances were dismissed. Runaways, some speculated. Others whispered about troubled souls seeking a fresh start. But as the weeks turned into months, a chilling pattern emerged. The missing persons shared striking similarities. Young, vulnerable, and last seen in the city's outskirts. Fear replaced complacency. The local police department, initially dismissive, began to feel the pressure. The media descended, drawn to the mystery like moths to a flame. Families of the missing pleaded for answers, their voices hoarse with anguish. The disappearances became impossible to ignore. The question was no longer whether something was wrong, but what, and who or what was responsible. The air crackled with unease. Maria Sanchez, a bright-eyed teenager with dreams as big as the California sky. She loved to dance, her laughter echoing through the halls of Escondido High. She had a smile that could light up a room. And then, one ordinary afternoon, she disappeared. Maria was last seen walking home from school, a familiar route she had taken countless times. Her backpack, filled with textbooks and dreams, was later found discarded in a nearby park. Her phone, a lifeline to her friends and family, lay silent. Days turned into weeks, each one a torturous eternity for Maria's family. Flyers with Maria's smiling face were plastered across the city. But the question remained, where was Maria? The answer, when it finally came, would shatter their world. The disappearance of Maria Sanchez sent shockwaves through Escondido. The idyllic city, once a beacon of peace and tranquility, found itself grappling with a terrifying new reality. Fear, like a virus, spread rapidly. It seeped into everyday conversations, casting a long shadow over the once vibrant community. Parents, once carefree, now lived with a knot of anxiety in their stomachs. They drove their children to school, their eyes constantly scanning the streets. Playgrounds, once filled with the joyful shrieks of children, stood eerily quiet. The streets, once bustling with life, were now deserted after dark. Suspicion clouded every interaction. The media, hungry for any scrap of information, descended upon Escondido. Theories, both plausible and outlandish, swirled like dust devils. The community, once a tapestry woven with threads of trust and camaraderie, was now fraying at the edges. The investigation into the Escondido disappearances dragged on, weeks bleeding into months. Leads ran cold. Suspects were investigated and cleared. Just when it seemed like the case had hit a dead end, a glimmer of hope emerged. A witness came forward, noticing a suspicious vehicle near the park. Her memory provided a crucial lead, a partial license plate number. The vehicle was traced back to Robert Evans, a quiet resident of Escondido. The trial of Robert Evans was a media spectacle. Cameras crowded the courtroom, capturing every detail of the proceedings. The families of the missing, their faces etched with a mixture of hope and trepidation, occupied the front row. The evidence against Evans was overwhelming. The prosecution presented a meticulous case, weaving together forensic evidence, eyewitness accounts, and chilling testimony from survivors. The defense, outmatched and outmaneuvered, attempted to paint Evans as a mentally unstable individual, but the jury was unconvinced. After days of deliberation, they returned with a unanimous verdict, guilty on all counts. Evans, his face betraying no emotion, was sentenced to multiple life terms without the possibility of parole. The nightmare was finally over. The arrest and conviction of Robert Evans brought a sense of closure, but the healing process was far from over. The specter of the Escondido tragedy lingered, casting a long shadow over the once peaceful city. Life went on, as it always does, but it was forever altered. The rhythm of the city had changed, marked by an undercurrent of sorrow and a newfound vigilance. The families of the victims faced the daunting task of rebuilding their lives. Support groups became lifelines. offering a space to share their grief and anger. The community too bore the scars of the tragedy. Conversations now revolved around safety measures and the importance of looking out for one another. The idyllic facade of Escondido had been irrevocably broken. Yet amidst the pain and loss, there was also resilience. Robert Evans, the man at the center of the Escondido tragedy, remained an enigma. The trial had revealed his crimes, but his motives remained shrouded in mystery. Criminologists and psychologists dissected his past, searching for clues in his childhood, his relationships, his experiences. They uncovered a history of social isolation, a troubled upbringing marked by abuse and neglect. Some experts pointed to signs of psychopathy, a personality disorder characterized by a lack of empathy, remorse, and a propensity for manipulation. Evans himself offered no explanation, maintaining his silence throughout the trial and subsequent incarceration. Understanding the motivations of predators like Robert Evans is a complex and often unsettling endeavor. While the answers may never fully explain or excuse such horrific acts, they can offer valuable insights into the nature of evil. The Escondido tragedy sent shockwaves far beyond the city limits, sparking a national conversation about community safety and the need for systemic change. As details of the investigation emerged, it became painfully clear that there had been missed opportunities, systemic failures that allowed a predator to operate undetected for so long. Questions were raised about the initial police response, the slowness to connect the dots, the dismissal of early warning signs. The community, outraged and heartbroken, demanded accountability. They called for better communication between law enforcement agencies, improved training for officers on identifying and responding to missing persons cases, and greater resources for victim advocacy groups. The tragedy also highlighted the vulnerability of marginalized communities. Many of the victims were young women of color. Their disappearances initially met with indifference or even skepticism. This painful truth ignited a movement for social justice. In the aftermath of the Escondido tragedy, a profound sense of unity emerged from the depths of despair. The community, bound together by shared grief and a collective determination to honor the memory of the victims, found solace and strength in one another's embrace. Candlelight vigils, once somber affairs, transformed into powerful displays of solidarity. Thousands gathered, their flickering flames a testament to the enduring spirit of hope and resilience. Support groups blossomed, providing safe spaces for healing and growth. Victims' families, united by their shared loss, became advocates for change. They lobbied for legislation to improve law enforcement responses to missing persons cases and to increase funding for victim services. The Escondido tragedy, in its wake of devastation, ignited a powerful movement for change. The horrors unveiled in Escondido served as a stark reminder that even in the most idyllic of settings, darkness can lurk. It underscored the importance of vigilance, not just from law enforcement, but from each and every member of the community. Safety, it became clear, is not a passive concept but an active endeavor, requiring constant attention, awareness, and a willingness to speak up when something feels amiss. The tragedy also highlighted the crucial role of empathy in fostering a safe and just society. It challenged us to look beyond our own immediate circles and recognize the shared humanity that binds us all. Building a safer world requires a multi-pronged approach. It necessitates investing in robust law enforcement training and fostering strong community partnerships. But perhaps most importantly, creating a truly safe society requires cultivating a culture of empathy. Years have passed since the dark days of the Escondido tragedy. The memory of the victims lives on, etched into the very fabric of the community. Their stories remind us of the preciousness of life and the enduring power of hope. Memorials stand as silent sentinels, their names etched in stone. Each anniversary brings reflection, honoring their legacies by continuing the fight for justice.